Come on, Dodgers. Damn it. You have to sign everybody? Yeah, they signed another one. One that we really wanted to return to the Rangers. We talk about that and more as we get started right now on the DLLS Rangers Podcast. Yeah, there he goes. The crisis gets even worse as Kirby Yates is headed, like so many others, to Los Angeles as we welcome you into the DLLS Rangers Podcast. John Radigan here with Jeff Wilson. We've got the Prophet over there, and we've got you. I know BC probably be here today. He's one of our favorite diehards, and we love you, BC. But damn it. The Dodgers just keep signing guys up. They've signed Kirby Yates now. That after, I said in the description of the show, they set the market for closers Sunday by signing Tanner Scott. Now they're trying to corner the market, Jeff. They're getting them all.
It's pretty interesting. It's like, what are they going to, they have Blake Trinan and Tanner Scott, like you said, and now they have Kirby Yates. I wonder what their plans are because Tanner Scott could set up. He could be
he's a lefty specialist.
He could be a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
And Kirby Yates could close. And Blake Trinan, geez, you could use him, in the sixth inning conceivably. It's pretty remarkable. Although if this, apparent superstar rotation, are they going to go to
right.
How many are the starters going to be? Are they going to keep a rein on them? They have to keep a rein on some of them. I'm imagining Ohtani. The three Japanese pitchers will be kind of on an innings limit, I would guess. But yeah, Glass now with his injury history and Blake Snell, who maybe started to buck the can't go more than 7 innings trend last year. But and then you saw what they did in the postseason when they had all the starting pitching injuries. They had bullpen games, So I don't know. They have a bunch of ways they can beat you with their pitching staff, not to mention with bludgeoning you with that offense. So, it's pretty it's pretty amazing what the Dodgers are doing, and I don't know what needs to be done about it.
Well, and that's a good question, and that's one we're going to address in just a second. It is a classic case of the rich, the super rich, the ridiculously rich getting richer in the case of this Dodgers team, which has done so much during this offseason to pretty much acquire everybody and anybody. They missed out on Soto, I guess, right? I mean, that's the only thing they have missed on thus far, and that might go back to last offseason too. They have the ability, the financial wherewithal to get everybody, and they appear, their hearts are set on getting everybody. It worked last year. They won a World Series, and they needed the depth that they had, and that much of which they had acquired. They needed that depth in order to win that World Series. So, they probably figure, well, we aren't going to stand idly by. We'll need it again, and here they go.
They're not just getting depth, though. They're getting like all-stars.
Yeah, true.
They're spending, I think their payroll is already at $380 million, somewhere around there. I don't think Yates has officially agreed. Or he has agreed. It's not an official deal. So still has to pass a physical, according to one report, and there are a couple others that saying, oh, yeah, it's pretty close. Not there yet. I've seen a lot of people say, well, you need a salary cap in baseball. Well, and then people are like, Rob Manfred needs to step in and do it. Rob Manfred works for the owners.
Oh, yeah. No, he's not doing
Rob
anything.
Manfred is not working on his own here. He is tied to the owners. If the owners want to do that, then Rob Manfred will do that. I think what they need to do is close the deferred money loophole.
Yes.
You don't no more deferred money. All right. I think that's the way to go, at least initially, because eventually this current CBT is going to expire, maybe in 2 years, I think. And we had the owners locked out the players last time around, and it threatened the season. It was delayed and kind of rushed and went a little long. Anyway, if there's serious talk from ownership about a salary cap, there's going to be a player strike.
Oh yeah.
They don't want that crap.
No.
They want as much money as they can get. But I think the deferred money has to go. That loophole needs to be closed, and maybe that's the compromise between the two.
No doubt, because when we've heard even as recently as the Tanner Scott deal, he got a $20 million signing bonus and $22 million in deferred money. Right. So he basically only counts $32 million against their collective bargaining threshold tax.
Okay. Shohei Ohtani counts for $2 million.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
insane.
That's
because he
thing.
deferred all of it.
Yeah. He deferred $680 million. So that is it's a business decision for sure. It's a bad business decision if they want to sell the club. Yeah, because owners don't want to pick up deferred money.
Sure,
or potential buyers don't want to pick up debt. Right,
but I don't know that group wants to sell the team
right exactly
anytime soon.
Yeah, it just seems like it needs to be reined in. And Steve Cohen with the Mets, when he went wild with Scherzer and Verlander a few years ago, all that was guaranteed. He didn't defer any of that.
No.
And there are ways to get around it. Signing bonuses to mitigate the CBT. The Rangers have done that. And maybe the CBT needs to be a little bit higher, but still you're talking about teams. There are going to be teams that aren't going to be able to compete, or very rarely will have success, like the Pirates, let's just say, or Cleveland and Detroit. I know Detroit has spent money in the past, but these teams ran into trouble against the Yankees in Cleveland's case, Detroit's case, right?
Yeah, no. Cleveland's case. Yeah. Cleveland beat Detroit. Yeah.
But they didn't have starters. They had to rely on their bullpen. Their bullpen was worn down. They didn't have the financial wherewithal to go and load up like the Dodgers are doing, and like the Rangers did kind of at the trade deadline in 23. When they got two starting pitchers, one of whom was injured in Scherzer, but Jordan Montgomery, he came in and it was unbelievable. So anyway, it feels like there's going to be a groundswell here, but also you still have to go out and win the games. No team has repeated in baseball since the Yankees in 20 from 98 to 2000.
Yeah,
and,
for 25 years.
And the thing is, the Yankees, they were talking about, they spent all this money. All their main star players of that dynasty were homegrown, and worked their way through the financial situation and re-signed with the Yankees, or signed extensions, however you want to look at it. But Derek Jeter drafted and developed, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit, those guys who are the backbone of those teams were homegrown. So the Dodgers, I don't know. Do they have any homegrown players? I mean, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, but they're injured all the time. They just traded Gavin Lux. So
it's a good point.
If BC was here, he could fill us in. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of homegrown talent on that Dodgers team. Kershaw, of course, but he's kind of toward the end. But it's something that I think will be a talking point for a while, and I'm sure that in spring training, Rod Menford meets with the media in each Grapefruit and Cactus League. I'm sure he'll get asked about it and have to answer it, but for now, it looks like they've built a super team, and the Rangers need a closer.
Yeah, they definitely do. And this building of the super team is something that I remember back as far as when free agency first started, and even then, the Yankees had all the money, and the Yankees kind of did that. George Steinbrenner, would not be outdone. He would not be outbid. He bid for everybody. He got everybody, and it was almost proven then that you can't buy a championship, right? He kept trying and trying, and they just couldn't. It wasn't until they grew, had homegrown talent that they got back to that level, really through the 90s. I mean, all those guys you mentioned were there throughout that whole 96, 98, and then obviously 99 and 2000, right? Yeah. That whole group was homegrown, or at least the backbone of it was, and it proved like buying the championship wasn't the best way to go then. Clearly, the Dodgers are proving in this day and age you can. They won last year. They got a great chance, obviously, to win again this year.
Sure. And so I've been kind of looking at who's out there to be a closer, and maybe the Rangers really don't have a closer. They just sign another great setup guy. There's a possibility, but of the closers who are out there, Kenley Jansen is still out there.
His name's come up in the chat.
He's 37. He's a little younger than Yates, but I think he's got some more miles because it seems like he's been pitching forever. Craig Kimbrell, another guy who's older.
He's older, yeah.
Didn't make it to the finish line with the Orioles last year, had like a 5.5 ERA. Uncle Ted keeps saying Danny Coulombe, left-hander, doesn't strike out a lot of guys. The Rangers definitely have a pattern with these signings. They're looking for high strikeout guys. And, like Dylan Florio is a free agent. He averaged 4.4 strikeouts per 9 last year. I think I could do that. That's unbelievable. And so anyway, I just Kyle Finnegan, native Texan, not a huge strikeout per 9 guy. So it just depends on how they're going to do it. But we still think they're hey Danny, he had a 9.8 K per 9, but the Rangers are looking at like 10 and 12. They're looking at per 9. They're look at what David Robertson and Yates did last year, strikeouts per 9. That's what they want. I do like your K rate point, but still. And how many lefties, do the Rangers want in their bullpen? That's another question. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know if the Rangers will what they're going to do. Hector Neris, no, just they'll figure it out, I think. But and there's always the trade possibility too.
Yep, there is, and that may be the more attractive way. Now, again, I think the Rangers would be, and I'm reluctant at this juncture to say, you go with one of the Kenley Jansens, or the Craig Kimbrells of the world. They're getting old, and you just don't know. I mean, look, you don't know about Kirby Yates either. I mean, you know what he did last year. Yeah. Will he do it again this year? I don't know. He's getting older. He's a year older. So it's a roll of the dice, and it's these days an expensive roll of the dice. And you'd hate to bring Kenley Jansen in here and all of a sudden go, well, I guess Chris Martin is our closer, right? Because Kenley Jansen spit the bit. Yeah. Or, something similar, or somebody else, somebody in the chat. It might have been Uncle Ted saying, Jacob Webb. I don't know. We don't know enough about these young guys. None of them have closed enough. I think all of them combined, everybody they brought in combined last year had 5 saves.
Yeah,
so
I think they have 29 in their career.
29 total, all of them. So we have no idea which of these guys could do that job, if there are any of them that could. But it's looking more and more like that's going to be a pretty maybe the only option, other than waiting for Josh Sborz to come back and or maybe working on something at the trade deadline. Now, again, obviously trades can still be made during spring training and at this point in the off season, but who knows? That one, those are harder to predict. Wow. Yeah. How about that? Finished a thought, finished a statement, ding, right on cue. Man, it's just got us bothered that not only the Dodgers are buying everybody, but that the Rangers appear to be one guy short. So we continue to talk about that throughout the course of our program. Next up, though, we got a special treat. We got a special guest. He's a Hall of Famer. You know him as Pudge. Ivan Rodriguez was in town for the big weekend. Abby and I had a chance to sit down with him and talk a little bit about what he's doing and why he was here, and a little bit about the team with him, too. That's coming up on the DLLS Rangers Podcast. First Empire today, though, we are huge fans, as you well know, and I do think this is almost the perfect time to get yourself some flooring from Empire today. Obviously, there's still a chance we're going to get some winter weather around here. Heck, they got it in Houston last night and today. I saw a picture of DKR Stadium down there in Austin, and its field is all white. Completely white. You don't see Austin covered in snow very often. But anyway, you could still get some of that winter weather. That's okay, because the new floors that you buy will be easy, and they'll be wonderful, and they'll be the highest quality. That is, if you get them at Empire Today. So go to EmpireToday.com and check out all the variety of wonderful products that they have. They're the originator. They're the best. Everybody else basically just trying to copy them. Use that shop-at-home technology. Send them a picture of your floor, and they show you what it'll look like with their flooring on it. It's a great deal. You can get $350 off. EmpireToday.com/DLLS.
Yeah, and with that money, just go ahead and deposit some of that into the Sleeper app. $100, they'll match up to $100 on your first deposit if you use the code DLLS Rangers. I love the Sleeper app. It makes sports more enjoyable. I'm learning more about the NBA through the app. I didn't have any money going last night on that college football game, but man, if you'd had Jenkins rushing touchdowns, you would have been fine.
No kidding.
I know that Greathouse getting the touchdown was a big one for folks who had him. I did look, John. I didn't do it. But I did.
You
look.
didn't pull the trigger, but you had to check it out.
But anyway, the point is, it makes sports more fun, and it can put a little money in your pocket. So again, use the code DLS Rangers for a $100 match on your first deposit.
Hey, speaking of making sports more fun, that's essentially what we are here to do. And we have really enjoyed the process. We hope that you have too. Keep chatting. We love seeing your questions and your comments. We love seeing you guys argue with each other in some cases or help each other out. That's also cool too. So anyway, that's extremely cool. Stay with us. We're here every day this week, every day at noon, and we love being here with you. Part of the fun is that we get to go places and see people that all of you love and know. And one of those people is Pudge Rodriguez. He was in town over the course of the weekend. He was signing autographs, I'm pretty sure, at Fan Fest. He was definitely at the Winter Banquet on Friday night. And Friday afternoon, he spent a little time at a brand new facility, a place that's just being built. It's like 2 doors down, if you will, from Globe Life Field. So you've got Texas Live, then you've got the Lowe's Arlington Hotel, and then you've got One Rangers Way. It's an apartment complex, and man, is it nice. Luxury apartments that actually you could afford. I tell you this, you really could. Maybe not the penthouse, but some of the others. Here is Abby Jones, Pudge Rodriguez, and me chatting about One Rangers Place and more on Friday. Well, what a treat. Look who we found. Pudge Rodriguez hanging out at One Rangers Way, which we'll show some of the pictures throughout the course of the interview, Pudge. But there's all kinds of memories of your career, of Rangers history in this new apartment building that's just, seconds away from the ballpark.
Yes, it is. I mean, this is a beautiful piece of property. I saw it since day one when I just come over here. I saw the construction, getting built, and now look what we got. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is a great place, to hang out. Imagine an apartment, having a bar, having a place to relax with your friends or your guests coming in, and then see all this memorabilia behind us.
Yeah.
Could you have imagined living in a place like this when you played? The commute to work would have been incredibly easy.
Well, when I came here in '91, actually I was living right next door over here in this little apartment right down the street, and but no, I mean, this is beautiful. The good thing about what we've seen is that Arlington is growing. Mm-hmm. And that's a very positive thing for Arlington. When you see the Cowboy Stadium, the new ballpark, and now all this construction going on and more to come, is going to be the place to come. And I'm very happy for that. Very happy to see the people coming to Arlington and rent or live here instead of just live outside and coming back. But just seeing apartments like this, so beautiful like this, and the other, and in this corner are going to be more apartments to be built. It's always nice to see that.
So your apartment over here didn't have a lounge like this and a bar for you to take your guests to?
Nothing. It was, remember, I was in 91 to think about it.
I was going to say, Brett might have not had a few zeros behind it as well.
So none of this was back then. Remember, the ballpark was right over here on my right, and that's basically, that was it. Other than that, there was nothing around here.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So you've got the penthouse suite named after you.
Yes.
So I assume you'll be living there?
Yes, I hope.
Yeah.
But now I just gonna leave that to whoever wants to rent it. To be honest, there's I think it's a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
There's 2 bedrooms.
2.5 bath.
Pretty good size, and I think it's gonna face the Lowe's and some of the corner of the new ballpark and the old ballpark. So it's going to be beautiful to see.
Yeah, great views from there and great memories that are being made here now. Now, again, last year didn't go how everybody thought it would for the Rangers, but they've done a lot this offseason. Right. And the very first thing they did, Pudge, was get a backup catcher, Kyle Higashioka. And what did you think about that move to help Jonah Heim out?
I think with Kyle is going to be great. I still want to see our catcher, because I think this is our guy for me. And basically, it's going to be great for the team. I think, the way Kyle receives, they call games, he's a good receiver. It's going to be good. So it's going to be very interesting in spring training to see how these 2 guys are going to be played out. The good thing is, it's 2 great catchers that we're going to have, and he's a good hitter to have.
Yeah.
You know best out of anybody how difficult it is to have an extended season. Postseason, it's such a privilege, but it does require sacrifice and grind. How was it for you personally, going back the next season? Did you feel like it was at one point like an off moment? Because I think people are a little concerned with Jonah Heim last year, and everyone's expecting him to have a bounce back 2025.
Well, it is obviously, when you have a great season and the way that Jonah has this season, that we win the World Series, obviously you're expecting that to happen again. And unfortunately, it was hard for him this year, especially in the offensive part of his game. I think defensive was pretty good. He still was receiving the ball good. But hey, past is already in the past. This year is going to be another good year. He knows the things that he needs to work on in this past off season, and I think he's going to be ready to come back, in my opinion.
So Jacob deGrom is back now, and fully healthy. This guy's nasty. Speaking of receiving,
well,
I mean, he's the kind of guy you'd love to catch.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see him healthy.
Yeah.
That's the key. No question his stuff is there. No question, like you say, he's nasty. When he's healthy, is one of the best pitchers in the game. But obviously, for me, stay healthy is the key for him this year. I think for us and for the team, we need him 32 starts. We want him to pitch 32 starts, and if he is able to stay healthy the whole year, we're going to have a good year.
And with Bruce Bochy, he has the trend of he's technically on pace to win another World Series. We like to refer to him as the thermostat of this team. Can you just, speak to the caliber of Bruce Bochy and his career and having that voice in the clubhouse?
Well, Bochy is Bochy. Obviously, he's going to be the same manager. Obviously, he was the same manager last year than the manager that when we win the World Series a couple of years ago. And he's going to be the same. I mean, he's going to let the guys play. He's going to sit there, and obviously, he's present there in the bench and in the dugout and the clubhouse is amazing, and the players know that. And so I think what I'm going to probably see from him is obviously, he's going to tell the players, hey, play hard for me, play hard for your teammates, respect the game, and go out there and do the best that you guys can, because he's going to have a good team. Obviously, again, stay healthy is the main key for us this year. Unfortunately, last year we have a lot of injuries, and when you play, changing the lineup pretty much every day is hard for a manager to make teams win ball games. So I think the key is, the stay healthy, the position players, the pitchers stay healthy, and when that happens, we're going to be okay.
How fun was it last year to be back in Cooperstown, which I assume you were, and another Ranger was going in?
Yep.
It's always nice. I mean, it's always a great couple of days there, the whole week, being there and spending time with the Hall of Famers is you can't beat that. I mean, being there with the Hall of Famers in the same hotel and see another Ranger came in and be there with him is fun. I think Adrian next year is going to be more relaxed than last year. So I'm looking forward just to this year come in and so spend time with him, because this year we're getting Carlos Beltran there in the boarding. So that's what I'm pulling to have another Puerto Rican in Hall of Fame. I know he's right now he's over 80%, so it's one more week.
Yep.
So hopefully we can have another Hall of Famer from Puerto Rico there.
That'd be awesome.
And, we go way back, and, you've had times in your career, like every stop is special to you, but the lasting impact that Texas has had on you, just can you talk, walking through this building, all of the memories, can you just describe what it's like to, still to this day be so involved with the organization?
Well, it's always great, obviously, the Rangers opened me the door since day one when I was when I was a little kid. When I was 16 years old, the way they treat me into now is still the same, and I'm very happy to be part of the organization in the role that I have as an assistant to the GM and the owners, and work with the catchers in the organization. So I like what I do. I'm not doing it in the full time. I always come, 10 to 12 days every month. But those 10 to 12 days that I'm here, I do everything that I can to help the organization, and I'm very happy. Obviously, every time I come to town, that I go and see, fans and suites and sit down with the owners talking about baseball, ask me questions, and been in the dugout and the clubhouse, just seeing the guys having a conversation with them.
So, from working TV, all those post-game shows with me, I have a lot of late nights here. Can you hook a brother up with a discount on the penthouse where I can just walk over?
Pudge, Brad.
You know what? I would love to, but that's not my job. That's their job. But now, I think this is going to be this building here is going to be a success for me. Mm-hmm. It's going to be great. I think this is way needed here in this area, because Arlington is growing, and this is the start. This is the beginning, and many more to come.
Awesome. Pudge, we appreciate it. Well, you got to give it a shot, Jeff. I thought maybe Pudge could hook me up with the penthouse suite.
One Rangers Way was a sponsor of the weekly show.
Yeah,
and so
it's a great place.
I've kind of watched it from the ground up, and all the various models that they have, and then Nicole and Scott, who are on the show, they're pretty on top of it, and they're really nice places. I mean, you can get them with high-end finishes and all those things. So
yeah.
It wouldn't be bad to just have to, if you're a player,
right,
just walk out the building.
Walk out the door. And there's a lot more in that area now. There's a Starbucks right across the street. There's a good Mexican restaurant now in the old Globe Life Park. They're sort of developing the lowest level of that. So that's really cool, and great to see Pudge. And to be honest, at One Rangers Way, we were talking to Emily, who was our contact there, and you can get a one-bedroom studio type apartment for like $1,400 or $1,500 a month, which I think we're sitting in the heart of Dallas here. I mean, not sure there's very many right here that you could get for that same price. So it's worth checking out, especially if you're a baseball fan. But that entertainment district in Arlington is burgeoning right now, growing and growing. So be a cool place to live. Anyway, we appreciate Pudge. I know you do too. We've seen some of the comments. I know there's a lot more to talk about with you too, and we're going to continue doing that. We'll get to some of the questions. We want to talk about some of the minor leaguers that you may have been discussing as well. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
Dadgummit, John, I always close the window, and then when it comes on,
yeah,
like
it's a
totally
Saturday
surprised.
Neon for you, young fella.
Oh man, Saturday Neon. We've talked about them, and they're awesome. A couple friends started making these LED neon signs, so there's no gas involved, and it's a lot safer, probably a better, more durable product. But they look great in whatever room you want. You can see them on their website, SaturdayNeon.com, where if you use the code DLLS, you can get 10% off. They're licensed with nearly 50 major college programs. A lot of the big ones in our state. TCU, of course, not on there, so I gotta go up to Colorado. I think that's where they're located and break some legs. But and they'll make your own, so you could get one for your business, or you get one that just says Jeff is awesome or something like that to stick in your man cave or over your bar. So go to, again, SaturdayNeon.com. Use the code DLLS for 10% off.
Yeah, that's a great idea, as is getting a Rugged Road cooler. If you're going to make that trip to Colorado, well, that is if you're driving. Sure would be nice to have a cooler full of cold drinks right next to you there, and they'll stay cold for really the whole trip. You drive to Colorado, you hang out for a couple days and come back, your drinks would still be cold. By the way, soft drinks. We don't want you drinking anything out of that cooler.
Oh, when I was growing up, the drinks were
maybe a little harder.
Were not soft drinks.
Well,
with my dad,
when I moved to Texas in 1990, you were still allowed to have open intoxicants. I'm like, what the heck? But no more, and that's not safe, so we don't encourage that. We do encourage you, though, to get a Rugged Road cooler, and we know that your stuff would stay so cool in this rugged, awesome cooler. It's made so well. It's light. It floats. It's going to keep your stuff cold for 7 days. It's very, very compatible. So go to ruggedroad.com and use the code DLLS. You get 10% off your brand new Rugged Road cooler. All right, man. Lots going on in the chat. We love it.
Yeah, we need to get back. I think we need to
get back to that. Yeah, and let's discuss some of this, because we've got to talk about this closer thing. It's a real. I don't want to overstate what a problem it is, but it to us is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, it appears to be a hole on the roster. That there is no closing experience there, and that's not to mean that these guys haven't pitched in high leverage situations, because they have. But I really do believe that the ninth inning is just a little bit different.
It is.
You see guys who dominate in the eighth, and then they come to the ninth. Anyway, I think I think if you're going to look at some names out there, I don't know that Jansen and Kimbrel are necessarily attractive to the Rangers, despite their resumes, Hall of Fame resumes, really. David Robertson, he said on the Foul Territory podcast yesterday that he's ready to pitch. It's been a little bit slow, but now that everybody's signing, I'd imagine he's going to have an opportunity. He was so good last year for the Rangers. Holy moly! His numbers were shocking. And
he kind of came in last year with the Rangers thinking he would close and got the money as such, and it was not expected that Kirby Yates would.
Yeah, like when they decided to move Leclerc out, I was like, oh well, David Robertson. Yeah, no, they moved in Yates, and it worked out real well. I think there are names. There are things that the Rangers people are going to like. Their analytics department, their research development, all that stuff. And then there's the eye test and the guys who you can trust. So we'll see what happens. It could be just a one-year deal. There's talk in the chat about John Gray becoming the closer, and I was on that too. And the Rangers are pretty insistent here at the winter meetings that John Gray is going to be a starting pitcher. We went over how short they are in innings, and they need John Gray. Now, could they go sign a starter?
Right.
Could they go sign a starter? All right, well.
And then move Gray, or move Gray in a trade and bring in a guy who's a closer. But that's...
Okay, so Jack Flaherty, all right. Jack Flaherty's probably the best starter left on the market. I don't know. I might be making that up. Nah, probably not. I don't know if the Rangers want to spend that kind of money, and he's probably not looking for just a 1-year commitment.
Nope.
So then who else you got? Kyle Gibson, and we've run that play before. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Andrew Heaney's still out there.
Yeah.
Does strike out a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Kershaw
had a great year with the Rangers last year.
Max Scherzer. Hey, how about Max Scherzer?
Yeah.
Get him back for 1 year. I don't know. I think that it's something that needs to be looked at, though. I just really think that the Rangers somewhere, it's just one thing missing. Now, it's possible, and Chris Young said this way back at some point. He said the bullpen we opened the season with may not be the bullpen we finished the season with.
Right.
Indicating that you can get players at the trade deadline.
No doubt. And when I asked him, I think it might have been the day Jock Peterson was introduced so early in January, hey, what about the closer market? He said, like, the first words out of his mouth were, don't forget about trades, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's top of mind for him. Doesn't mean they're actually working on a trade at the moment, but he doesn't want you to think the only way to acquire a closer, a closer in this case, is through free agency.
Yeah, and it's it is cheaper, and nobody really knows. You have these payroll trackers out there. I do COTS, you do Roster Resource, and there are others out there that they think they know what they've got, but they're all different.
They are.
It's not like
vastly.
It's not like the number is precise here. So in any event, the Rangers probably don't want to spend too much more on a closer. Maybe they have to defer it. Maybe they do the signing bonus thing. Whatever it is, I think that something will happen, though. We've got a long way to go. Again, like Will Smith a few years ago didn't sign until after spring training started.
And then started that year as the closer.
Well, he again took over for Leclerc.
Yeah.
So there are lots of ways to go about it. But the idea of signing a starting pitcher, I just don't know that there's one there that would fit what the Rangers are looking for, which means
you have to have John
affordable.
Gray.
So you have to have John Gray.
have to have John Gray in that rotation in order to make that happen, unless you were to trade him to get a closer. And then, again, you're really, really testing the depth of the rotation, which has plenty of names, but none of which have the expectation of extremely high innings count numbers, right? I mean, all of them we figured are in the 120 to 150 stretching it range, and that's low. You need a lot of 120s to get to the number of innings you need your starting pitchers to pitch. So, it's a conundrum right now, and it is a thing, and people are saying on the chat, geez, all this great work that Chris Young has done in the offseason could be completely undone if you don't have a closer. Absolutely true. He's going to go into the season believing they have someone who can get the job done, whether they acquire somebody else or not.
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers didn't just sign 5 guys.
Right.
They signed guys who they like, who they believe can get outs, and who have gotten outs. Chris Martin and Bruce Bochy said over the weekend that if this is the group they go with, well, Martin's probably going to be the closer because he has the most experience. There are trade possibilities out there. There's Helsley with the Cardinals and Bednar with the Pirates, and then the Giants, Duvall, because he kind of had a bad year. But Robert Garcia, who was one of the acquisitions, he was the Nate Lowe trade basically. He's got a chance.
Yes,
he's young and a little inexperienced, but the Rangers really like his stuff. And then when Josh Sborz gets back, well, there's another option right there. Would the Rays trade Pete Fairbanks? Well, the Rays think they're going to win, and Fairbanks probably fits their model of being pretty affordable. So there's just a lot of uncertainty, obviously, made more so by the fact that Kirby Yates is now headed to the Dodgers, or appears to be headed to the Dodgers. There was talk that Suarez with the Padres might be available. So, yeah, there are still arms out there, guys they can go get. But right now, if we're going to be realistic about things, the Rangers bullpen's set.
Yeah.
And until they do something, this is who they've got. Like at the in Hoosiers when what's his name fouls out and Gene Hackman doesn't put in the kid who runs his mouth. He goes, "My team's on the floor. They're playing 5-on-4." Well,
yeah,
the Rangers bullpen's on the floor.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
This is who they've got, and you got to figure out how to do it. And put a lot of faith in Bruce Bochy, who made a career out of it with the Giants. I know he had Brian Wilson at times, but he also had guys who he mixed and matched and figured out how to win a couple World Series with them. So
he's a bit of a bullpen whisperer, as is Mike Maddox. But
sure.
And Boch does. He has a certain amount of magic. Look at the postseason in 2023. The weakness of that team all year long was the bullpen. They didn't save as many games as they blew, or they didn't have as many saves as they did blown saves, and yet they won the World Series. They got it together when it mattered the most, when the bullpen whisperer started talking a little louder, perhaps.
Yeah. So there's still a ton of relievers out there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Natalie, could Rocker be the closer? I don't think so. I think there's some durability issues. I know some people thought that initially when he signed, but he looks like more of the starting Rangers starting pitcher, whereas Jack Leiter might be more targeted for the bullpen. But here we go. She also asked about the midseason trade, and that sure seems like something is a possibility.
No doubt about that. I mean, you got to see where you are and again, see if you're a buyer or a seller. But if you're in the hunt, and this team definitely believes it can win the American League West. So if you're in the hunt to do that and you're in the hunt to make the playoffs, obviously you become interested. And, in fairness to Ray Davis and the ownership group, they have proven in the past they will exceed that tax. Now, again, even if you make that trade in the midseason, if you still go over the tax, you still pay the penalty. And the penalty this year would be 50% on the overage. So if you go over by $2 million, you pay $3 million, right? You pay $1 million of a penalty for being 3 years in a row over that CBT. So it's pretty steep. But again, in the past, they haven't gone over. It's not like they're going over by $50 million.
Right.
Right. They're going over by a couple million.
Yeah. And
easy for me to throw away his extra million, if they're only $2 million over, but still.
I mean, there is that. I mean, there probably is the argument. I think even Ken Rosenthal said it. Yeah, the Dodgers are spending a lot of money, but so could the other teams. I mean, and there's a lot of truth to that because these owners aren't making $80,000 a year. They're making, they've made their money. They're billionaires. So yeah, if they wanted to do that, they could. Maybe it gets to net worth versus what's liquid and what isn't.
Sure.
Maybe they don't want to sell their company or sell stock or whatever. But and how much are they borrowing? It turns out Tom Hicks just borrowed money to do stuff and moved it over to pay, borrowed money to pay off one debt.
It was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
There you go.
There
you go. And I'm sure that happens a lot in business with all these owners. But like in St. Louis, the DeWitt is worth more than Ray Davis. You know, but they're talking about they're always never among the highest spending teams.
No,
it's I don't know. I just think it goes back to the Rangers will add somebody. It's just got to be at the right price point, the right fit. Could be today. It could be March 1st.
And it could be at the trade deadline.
Or it could be at the trade deadline.
Yeah, it absolutely could. And we asked Bruce Bochy that, do you feel like Chris Young is done? And he goes, Chris Young's never done.
Right.
He's never done. And he's always working it. He's always talking baseball. And Boch was quick to point out with everybody here in the office and everybody from every other team. I mean, that's what CY does. He's so good at it. He stays so in tune with it. It's a 24-hour-a-day job for him. He's had his son with him the last couple of times we've seen him. And it's like, I need time with my son.
Yeah.
And I'm so busy working. Luckily, his son loves it. and wants to do that. He actually told us in January he'd like to do what his dad does for a living. So
I think their oldest daughter's a really good basketball player too.
Right.
Yeah.
So. And he gets to see her too. He goes and watched her game. So anyway, he's always working it. Rest assured, they're going to do everything they can and everything he's allowed to do by certain restraints, which everybody has, but certain restraints, which of course in this case could be budgetary. More coming up as we clean this thing up. We've got some things to talk about that are pretty fun, pretty exciting. It's the cleanup segment coming next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. So no merch for maybe under
no
there.
Merch
no,
today.
I got a little. This is just a great one. You should avail yourself to this shirt. Shows the skyline, and it's got DLLS, which we of course love. Dallas without the A's, in case you hadn't noticed.
That's right.
Like somehow our company, they don't like vowels. Like buy a damn vowel. No, they don't like vowels, and that's fine. The shirts are awesome. They do like shirts. They do like quality shirts. And that's what we get you and send you if you will buy one of these. There's so much more than just shirts available. There are hoodies, and you need those today and for the next couple of days of winter around here, and then it'll be warm again. But there's even more than that. So go to that store.allcitynetwork.com and check out everything that we have in the merchandise area. It's going to grow. We definitely are getting hats soon, and we've got some ideas for some fun shirts that we would like to see produced. So it's all coming up at store.allcitynetwork.com.
Yeah, and as you guys know, especially those of you who've become the diehards out there, when you buy a diehard membership, you get a free shirt. And you get it every year. So pretty soon your closet's going to be full because you're both going to get the free one, and then you're going to be like, damn, these are nice. I'm going to go to store.allcitynetwork.com. What you need to do is go to alldlls.com, join, become a diehard. It's not just my stuff. It's everybody's stuff. And we have great Cowboys coverage, Mavs, Stars. My God, I wrote 16 stories last week, John.
Did you really?
Yeah. Now, 5 of them were the podcast recap. So I wrote 11 stories that went behind the paywall. So I took a break last night, but I got to write Kirby Yates today. So we got some stuff brewing here. So anyway, alldls.com.
Yeah, become a diehard. Hang out with us. Don't forget. I think the thing is sold out at Cosm. But, we're going to have events coming up, and the Mavs crew is a little watch party when they play the Celtics on February 6th at Cosm. So that's the kind of thing we are going to be doing to make sports more fun for you. And this has really been fun. We've loved seeing all of what you're saying and all of your concerns, and we have very similar ones, which is cool because we're all kind of in this together. So in the cleanup segment yesterday I mentioned, in addition to everything else that the Dodgers have done, they've signed a player from Sudan. And actually, there are now 2 players from Joseph Deng is the player name that the Dodgers have drafted. But there are now 2 players from Africa who have been signed by major league teams. The Pirates signed one as well. And I did a dive into what baseball is like in Africa. There are 800 million kids in Africa. And there is a group that's really trying to put baseball and softball together for those kids to play. And their goal is to get teams to, the European Championship in baseball. But more importantly, they want to see a team in Williamsport.
Oh, that'd be
and
cool.
It's such a huge continent. There's a pocket of baseball that's being played up in the extreme north of Africa, and then a lot of it down in South Africa. Several of the counties and the areas, the provinces down there in South Africa are playing baseball. So it's becoming a bigger and bigger sport, evidenced by like this Joseph Deng. He's 6'7". He's 17 years old, and he throws 95 miles an hour. They feel like he's still growing, and he's really lanky. So he's going to fill out, and he's maybe going to still grow, and he'll be triple-digit guy. And he's, of course, great. Now he's in the Dodgers organization. But anyway, I think it's pretty cool. It's nice to see the boundaries and the borders expanding in where baseball is being played. Again, soccer's the sport in that country. But, but their intel shows in Africa that what they find is these kids get baseball like we do. They get baseball in their blood, and they just don't want to stop playing. They enjoy the game that much.
Yeah.
So cool, really cool.
I remember social studies class growing up that you could fit 2 United States into Africa itself, one across time. You got to turn it sideways, but you could fit them in
That's
there.
how big.
It's huge. And some of these countries are gigantic when you just look at the map and everything. I would imagine that, soccer, of course. We'll see the team from Ghana who always in the World Cup. But, cricket is another sport that's bigger. It's big in South Africa. I would assume that it's played elsewhere on the continent, but cricket isn't entirely dissimilar from baseball.
No,
so
not at all.
There might be some familiarity, and I remember that movie with John Hamm about signing the kids from India. I think he was a Pirates scout, and one of them ended up signing and pitching in their
and they were
system.
cricket players in India. Right.
So there are guys who maybe they're never exposed to something, and they're exposed to it, and it's like son of a gun. This guy has a hell of an arm. And that's interesting though. But
anyway,
and scouts are going to find you.
Yeah, they will.
Scouts will find you.
If there are kids throwing 95 over there at 17 years old, they are going to find you. They did in this case, and the Pirates have found another one as well. So that's pretty cool. I talked about the Dream Series yesterday, which was that opportunity Hunter Green brought. It was a part of it and brought some of the 80 kids who are a part of this Dream Series. These are African-American and Hispanic baseball players at the high school age who get to go to Arizona. It's in Tempe at the Diablo Stadium there, and they are part of a weekend series celebrating, of course, Dr. King's dream, but celebrating the fact that they can be good baseball players. Hunter Green was in the very first group that went to this thing back in 2017. There are 3 players in the major leagues right now. Taj Bradley is another one who went to the Dream Series. And anyway, but it's not just pro baseball that these kids are striving for. Out of the 80 kids that are there this year, 28 of them have already received scholarships at Division I colleges.
That's awesome.
UT, Vanderbilt, LSU, the Big 12 schools, others. So really a great thing that they're doing out there in Arizona right now with this Dream Series and helping, again, to expand the horizons and broaden the horizons of so many people and bring baseball to an underserved market. So, I just love what they're doing there.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it yesterday. It's important for the growth of the game and ultimately maybe even the survival of the game. As the travel ball and all the expenses with that pile up, nothing wrong with having some outlets to still get exposure to the game and not have to spend an arm and a leg. The Wilsons would be all for it.
Yep, absolutely. Now, Billy Wagner we talked a lot about the Hall of Fame yesterday, and we showed you Jeff's ballot, and we talked about T.R. Sullivan, his ballot. And so Billy Wagner is on his last year of eligibility. And our buddy Brian McTaggart down in Houston wrote a nice article on MLB.com you might want to read that just talks about Billy and how, this is bigger pressure than coming in the 9th inning with the bases loaded kind of thing. This is huge. This is his last opportunity. He gets 10 years on the ballot, and then he's out. He got 73.8% of the vote last year.
Yes, he missed about like 4 votes.
Missed it by
Tiny.
4 votes.
I might have been making that up, but
something.
A very small number, a single digits.
Yeah, single-digit number of votes because you need 75% to get on the ballot. And so I was wondering, so who else took it all the way to the limit? Well, there's only 9 other guys that were elected in their last year of eligibility. But here's the thing that's surprising to me. The big names that dot this list. Number 1, in his final year, he got 76.6% of the vote in 2020. Larry Walker.
Yeah, Larry Walker.
I was surprised Larry Walker. This one really surprised me. In 19, a guy went to the final, and then he got 85% of the vote. I'm kind of like, why didn't you vote for him last year? You got 85. Edgar Martinez.
Right.
Jeez, are you kidding me? And this guy, Pudge and this guy and I played golf together in Cooperstown in 2017. Tim Raines.
Yeah.
Tim Raines went, and then he got 86%. In his final year, I don't get that. Like, what were you doing last year, voters? Jim Rice in 2009. I would have shocked me. If you'd have told me to Jim Rice go all the way to his final ballot, I would have said, no way. It seemed like he was a Hall of Famer the whole time. Trying to see if there's any more that shocked me. Now, then you get into the old-timers. Ralph Kiner, John Medwick, and Red Ruffing way back in 67. So, but yeah, I was surprised by some of those names. Billy Wagner hopefully joins that list and makes it an even 10 because you voted for Billy.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TR voted for Billy.
Yeah. He liked my tweet. So Billy did? Somebody whoever runs his account, whether it's him or somebody else, liked my story because
and I saw on X Twitter today that Evan Grant put his ballot out there. He voted for Billy. So and again, it's expected, right, that people who kind of got to know him and covered him here would vote for him. But I hope that some people over there in the East Coast have done the same thing. I think the guy's worthy. I think he was worthy, obviously, last year. So
and who went in last year? Helton went in, Joe Mauer, and
Adrian
Beltray, and they were first timers. So that and the ballot changes every year because guys don't get the requisite votes.
Right.
You have guys who run out of their eligibility, and then like Bonds and Clemens and that group a few years ago kind of reset everything, kind of gave voters some breathing room. And there were ones who weren't voting for him and ones who were, and then. But like if it's a big class that gets in, it's like, man, I got 4 new holes to fill on my ballot.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool. And the announcement, by the way, is at 5 our time on MLB Network, and they're going to do a big production of it. And I like that MLB is doing this kind of thing now, making it special, right? It's not just some announcement that you might see or you might not. It's a big production. It's a big TV show tonight, so you can see, what that class is going to look like, and you can see, did Billy Wagner make it? Did Ichiro get in unanimous? I don't think Ichiro is going to be unanimous. I just think there's still a couple of curmudgeons out there who are going to say nobody gets unanimous. I'm not voting for him.
Well, I don't know. That's the only drama with him.
It is. He's in.
Will he be unanimous?
Yeah.
And it looks like I haven't. The Ryan Thibodeau, I think is his name. He is the guy who does all the tracking and is pretty famous for it. Well, he left Twitter, went to Blue Sky amid the Elon Musk thing.
Takeover or whatever.
Yeah, I think mostly people who are left leaning did that. So anyway, I don't know what he's doing because I'm not on Blue Sky, but I'm guessing that CC's in good shape. Yeah, if we're going to try to poke holes in Ichiro, well, it's just really, really hard.
It really is.
You could say his OPS is only 757. All right, that's a league average. His career, his OPS is 757. Okay, meaning he didn't hit any home runs or didn't hit a lot of home runs, and that's true. Yeah, that's true. He didn't have a ton of extra base hits in his career. Only 362 doubles. I think Pudge has like 200 more than that.
Yeah.
Bobby Abreu has 590 career doubles. So you could point at that. But by God, he got the magic number, the 3,000 hits.
He was just an on-base machine.
Yeah.
On-base machine.
So I think that he won the MVP his first year. So I think he's in. Gold Glover, stole a lot of bags. Not a lot to like about the guy.
Yep. Just got a text from our buddy Mark McLemore. Ichiro definitely should be unanimous, and Mac would know. I'm pretty sure they overlapped in Seattle.
That 2001 team.
They overlapped on that team. So anyway, love hearing from you, Mac. We're going to get him back on the show one of these days. Let's leave you today. It's Tuesday. We don't, ever since Abs has kind of been reassigned, we haven't remembered to do this every Tuesday, but I did today. So Tony Tuesday, no matter who you are or what you've done, repent and surrender your life to him. He will receive you with open arms. He loves you that much. Win your day, Tony Tuesdays. And we love Tony. We're going to see him soon. Spring training coming up. I didn't see Tony this weekend, did you?
I saw him briefly at the awards dinner.
Yeah, I didn't see
him
Tony
Saturday.
Beasley this weekend, but always great to see him, and we will soon, and we'll be hearing from him, and we love hearing from you. Thanks for hanging out with us today, man. It was a fun-spirited day. We're going to do it again tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. We're going to have lots to talk about as we get closer and closer to spring training, and we'll do it again every day on the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.